This is going to be a fairly controversial video, but I believe that I kind of understand why men in the West watch pornography. Now, I'm coming from a Christian perspective because I'm a Christian. And so this is what I see pastors and priests doing in their particular denominations. I think many of them come down very hard on men. Many of them lampoon men and say that men are sinning against God and that this is something that you should be ashamed of, and that this is something we should vilify because it's evil, it's wrong, it's sick, it's disgusting, right? And they come down very, very hard on men, right? I see it, and I can see that they have a point because Jesus did make it very clear that it is sinful, right? It's very clear. You can't argue against it, nor will I try to argue against it. However, I think that the motivations, from my standpoint, of why they come down so hard is because the women are pushing the pastors to do this. I think women are the most offended by men watching pornography, right? Women are very bothered when men engage in it because it makes them feel insecure. When you're looking at another woman who is considerably beautiful than you in terms of her bodily form, right? It makes you look at yourself a certain way as a woman. You have that self-doubt as to, does he really love me? And do I give him the excitement that I would want to give him so then I can keep him in my life and we can have a stability of some sort, and I can be kept safe and I don't have to worry about not having someone to take care of me, right? So I think women come from that standpoint, and they bring that feminine sensibility to the church, and they make the church turn on men and say that men ought to be put in their place and not watch pornography so then they can pacify the women because they know the women are the ones who are attending the church the most and they're paying the church's pledges the most. And so you got to keep your congregation happy. You're the most prominent demographic in your congregation, that is. And so I think the church is engaging in castigation of men for that reason. And I don't think that's right, but that's just the way it is. Now, let me tell you why I think men watch pornography in the West. In our society today, there isn't much need for you to be masculine, right? You have everything really available at the click of your hand. You can go on your phone, you can order food, and be here within 15 minutes, right? Life is easy. And with that, there's going to be more femininity. There's going to be more women taking a more prominent role in society. And most of the institutions and activities that were decidedly masculine are going to be more feminine. Take, for example, sports or the military. Now you have women in the army along with men fighting in combat, right? This is combat military was a decidedly masculine activity, but now women are in it. Sports, basketball, baseball, football. Now you have women playing in those sports, right? And pretty soon you're going to have women playing football, and they're probably having a league along with men, right? It's something to where women are becoming more and more prominent in activities and institutions that used to be very, very masculine. And that is changing societies so quickly that it's hard for men to cope. And so the two main sort of activities, if you will, that are still fairly masculine are video games and pornography. Now, video games is masculine because you have competition where you fight in a fighting game, let's say Street Fighter, sports like Madden, NBA Live, NBA 2K, and there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser, and you can gloat about it. You can talk trash. You don't have to note the feelings of your opponent. You can talk nasty to each other, which is what we men do. We love to banter with each other, whereas you can't do that with a woman. A woman gets very offended, right? And so that's the way where you can be a man is video games. And then pornography, right? Pornography has this element of virility that a man has deep in his soul, where he can conquer the woman, make her submissive to his will, and give himself pleasure from doing it, because sex is something that a man needs for him to truly be masculine, right? And a man needs to have connection with his woman by having sex with her, right? That's how he feels that connection with the woman. Whereas I think women are the reverse, where they need to have connection with the man to have sex with him. But men, no, we need that sex in order for us to feel close to our woman because that sex gives us that masculine energy. So it's an energizer, if you will. And when you see a man doing that, you put yourself visually in his place, and then you see yourself, having sex with that woman, just as you see the quarterback throwing the football to the wide receiver for the touchdown. You conceptualize yourself as that quarterback throwing the football, right? It's just a way for a man to be masculine. And until we can solve that issue where we can find another outlet for men to be masculine, I think it's a very unwise idea to take away pornography from men. I think we should permit it. I think we should turn a blind eye. As long as they don't go overboard and they start having sex in real life, that's something we don't want to do because now that's going to produce children and you know, perhaps even abortion in certain aspects, right? We don't want that, but we should turn a blind eye and say that, men need this. Men need an outlet to be masculine and we have to help the men so then they don't have to engage in this. I guarantee you that most men don't want to don't want to watch pornography. They want the real thing, but it's very hard to get a woman to have sex with now in the proper manner, right? To get married and all that stuff, because there's lots of pitfalls with marriage, and we can make another video about that. And so men are working with what they have, right? And I think that as long as they do that, I don't think we should be too hard on them. But if the church sees it from that standpoint, we would have a different conversation. But as long as women are driving and steering the ship when it comes to how the church communicates to men, we're not going to see that change. But I think it's important for us to talk about it nonetheless.